Allow me to show you something.
Hey, what's going on there, Chicago Bears fans? Thank you for tuning in to another video on the island. First thing I gotta say, finally, we broke this 7-game losing streak. I mean, that's the first thing. I mean, before we get into the analysis of the game and everything, definitely enjoy this win, guys. I mean, it's been one hell of a stretch. We have remained loyal and had to sit through this terrible season, painful season. So, the fact that, did we beat up on a team that's pretty distraught right now, to say the least, as a franchise? Yeah, sure. But with everything we've gone through, man, just take the dub. You know how hard it is to come by wins in this league, and just enjoy it. I mean, as you've seen, we haven't had a win in almost 2 months. I don't know what would make you appreciate a W more than this, than what we've been through in those 2 months. So that's the first thing. Just enjoy it, guys. Definitely, drink a beer, drink a soda, kick your feet up, watch Sunday Night Football with the fact that you know that the Chicago Bears won today. As for the game, it was amazing. I mean, just seeing Matt Nagy do exactly what Bears fans have been begging him to do. Stick with David Montgomery. I mean, it's kind of hard not to. The first play of the game, you get an 80-yard touchdown run, which the offensive line, if you see on my Instagram, the island, the _island34, you'll see on my story if you didn't see the play. Man, David Montgomery had the hole about the size of a car. Like, it was, and we're talking like horizontally, not even like straight up and down, but it was great. I mean, they got stuffed that next drive. The offensive line was kind of getting beat up a little bit. The Texans were kind of figuring out the run game just in those first couple drives, and then, after that second drive where we took the sack and Khalil Mack got the fumble, our running game was on point the rest of the day. I mean, like 4 or 5 yards of carry. Definitely, did have some not so good runs, but that's just part of running the ball in the NFL. And, the biggest thing was getting Mitchell Trubisky moving. I mean, almost the whole game you saw he was doing play-action boots. He was moving outside the pocket. The pocket was moving with him on design plays to get him moving outside the pocket. He'd constantly hit those underneath routes that came across the backside of the formation that go against the flow of the play. And it worked. I mean, it worked the whole entire game. Mitchell had a great game. It gave him the opportunity to get moving, see downfield a little bit, and if nothing was there, you had the underneath route. And it worked. I mean, it's just kind of like, where has this been the whole time? Where has it been? I know we're playing the Texans, and, the result may be different, but, just this commitment to the running game, moving Mitchell outside the pocket. Where has it been the past 2 years? I mean, even year one in 2018, Matt Nagy the year he moved Mitchell around the most, actually had him running options and plays like that. But, since then, it's all just gotten worse, as in terms of doing stuff that Mitchell's been good at, like moving outside the pocket and play action boots, stuff like that. And it showed. I mean, we put up 30 points in the first half. Given who the team was, we got to remember we're playing the Texans. I'll get back into that in just a second. But regardless, to put up 30 points on a team in the first half, especially for how bad our offense has been. We've been our best football has come in the first half, regardless. But, overall, it was just it was surprising to see. You don't see the Bears getting 30 points in the first half all the time, let alone once every 5 years or so. The last time was probably against Tampa Bay in 2018, but, it looked good. But then, as much as we want to enjoy this win, Khalil Mack really showing up, getting that safety, Bilal Nichols playing really well, Akeem Hicks being back, the defense is playing well overall. Robert Quinn's still MIA. I don't know where he's at. So I'll play. He was in coverage, and it's like, what is Chuck Pagano doing? You paid him $70 million not to drop in coverage. Okay, all three players on that defensive line outside of Eddie Goldman, who Bilal Nichols he's not Eddie Goldman, but he's a step below, but he's still a pretty good player. They're all there, and Robert Quinn still can't do anything. And the one time he did, Deshaun Watson spins out of his tackle. It's unbelievable. I don't know at this point with Quinn if it's coaching or if it's just him personally. That was just a huge mistake by Ryan Pace. And the fact that Chuck Pagano hasn't figured out a way to use him, or, we're still the 15th total defense in the league before today, that's pathetic. I mean, with all the talent they have, the weakest link on that defense is probably Buster Screen. So the fact that we're 15th is pretty pathetic. And that's where it leads me into my next point, which is, now that we won this game, let's really look at the second half of this game, because Nagy did exactly what Nagy does. He can't adjust. Guys, we only scored 6 points in the second half. That sounds like the Chicago Bears. I mean, we scored 3 points in the third quarter, so now we've scored 10 points in the third quarter this whole year. And we scored 3 points in the fourth quarter. Against a team we put up 30 points in the first half. The only thing that points to is either them going into a shell, which they weren't. The Bears were still moving the ball a bit. But the fact that we could only put up 3 points in 2 quarters, or 6 points in 2 quarters, against a team who we were dominating early, it just shows Nagy can't adjust. He can't adjust to save his life after halftime. After halftimes, in between quarters, in between games, in between bye weeks, in between seasons, he can't adjust. He doesn't adjust. This was the first time he actually got Mitch moving and was dedicated to the ground game. And look what happened. We get a W. Now, we also need to remember the Texans didn't have any offensive weapons, guys. No Deshaun Watson, no Randall Cobb, no Brandon Cook, no Kenny Stills, no David Johnson. Duke Johnson got hurt. This defense is not very good. The most prominent piece they have is J.J. Watt, and that's about it. I mean, the only other people you can name are probably Bradley Roby and Vernon Hargraves, and they're both on their third team. So that just goes to show how good they are at their stage of their career. And, now that we won this game, it gives us hope that, we can make the playoffs. Like, we're still in the playoff picture. We're 1 game behind Arizona. I'm pretty sure we're tied with Minnesota right now. We got a meeting up with them. But do we want to win? And just think about this, guys. Do we want to open the door for these stupid-ass owners, the McCaskies, to give Ryan Pace and Nagy another chance? They've shown in the past that they'll give people chances that they like. You look at this season with Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace, all the blame was going on Matt Nagy early. In those first 3 games, it was on Nagy. And it was on, it wasn't until the 5th, 6th, 7th game, 4th game, that people started to look higher up and think, wait a minute, who hired this dude? Oh, yeah, it was Ryan Pace. And when did he get here? Oh, yeah, 3 years before Nagy got here. So, and the McCaskies, if you saw, they've said, we're uncertain about Ryan Pace's and Matt Nagy's tenure or their job security in Chicago. Uncertain? You should be telling the whole league. You're on notice. If you don't make the playoffs and win playoff games, you're fired. It's done. The whole league knows that we're not in shambles, I guess, technically after this week. But if you exclude this win against a team who has not been very good and is in shambles, they're not going to make the playoffs. We're still a franchise in despair, okay? Don't let this game trick you. And don't be seduced by this win and the aura of making it to the playoffs and winning playoff games. Because they've shown they can't do it, okay? They've shown they went to the playoff one time. They got booted. Obviously, it was a Cody Parkey kick. But, the year after that, 2019, we did not look good. And you go back to this year, and we do not look good. So, We just need to stop winning. I don't want to give the McCaskies any reason to bring back these two monumental failures. And they've done it with Jay Cutler before, a perfect example. Jay Cutler was through 4 years with Lovie Smith, 3 years with Mark Trestman, and 1 year with John Fox, or 2 years with John Fox. And it's like, why was he around for so long? Probably because the ownership was a part of the people who traded for him, liked him, and kept him around that whole time without thinking until year 8 that he was part of the problem. Okay? So, I know it felt really good to get this dub today. Definitely enjoy it regardless. But just remember where we were before this game, what we thought of Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, and how we think the McCaskies will handle them winning. Even with all their everything they've done in the past 2 seasons, I can still see them turning around and saying, you know what, they made it to the playoffs. Let's give them another chance. And I can't have it. Okay, so if it was my team, fire Ryan Pace right now. Especially to get someone to sign A-Rob, because A-Rob's not going to sign back with Ryan Pace after ignoring his contract negotiations for the past 3 months, okay? It's pathetic. Fire Pace. You still have the culture with Nagy. See what happens. If they make a playoff push, it's nice. Cool. But I don't want the McCaskies to have any excuse to give them another chance. So, with that, guys, enjoy the win. Just keep in hindsight on our whole... Try to look at the big picture with what's happening and how you felt before this game. How you feel about the upcoming games. I'll be doing some videos on that. But thank you guys for tuning in to another video on the island. Hit that like button, subscribe, comment. And, you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy this W. And Joseph.